Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the In-News series. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Today we are going to discuss the Maoist attack in Dantewada. Now, there are many facets which are related to this attack. We will also gauge the measure of left-wing extremism in India. Other than that, what has been done by the government to take care of it in Chhattisgarh. So without any further delay, let us first of all have a look at the news from the perspective of GS Mains paper, 3rd and 2nd. See, 10 personnel of the Chhattisgarh's Police District Reserve Guard and the civilian driver of their vehicle were reportedly killed in an IED attack, explosive device attack by Maoists in the state's Dantewada district. Here is Dantewada, okay, in Chhattisgarh, alright. More than 2 years, this has happened more than 2 years after the April 2021 ambush by Maoists in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. So you can see that there is a pattern in these kind of attacks. We will discuss that as well. See, why have the Maoists carried out this attack? Let us see that. Now, reason of this is related to climate as well. How? There is a heightened military activity and more attacks on security forces every summer. Because the CPI Maoist carries out tactical counter-offensive campaigns between the months of February and June every year. And with the onset of monsoon in July, it becomes really difficult to conduct offensive operations in jungle. So, at the onset of monsoon, that is probably around July, the Maoists as well as the CRPF personnel and other important personnel, they return back to their camps. Because of the onset of monsoon, what happens? That there are overflowing nalas that cannot be crossed, tall trees and shrubs everywhere that reduce visibility. Almost all major attacks by Maoists on security forces, including the 2010 Chintalnath massacre of 76 CRPF personnel, have taken place during this period only between February to June. And there has been registered an increasing IED attacks in these TCOCs. Until April 15 this year, Maoists had carried out 34 IED attacks in Bastar, and this was 28 for 2022 and 21 for 2021. Now, what is the current left-wing extremism status in India? Let's talk about that. Now, the influence of Maoists and associated violence, it has been falling consistently in the country, although you can see certain states are highly affected like Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Certain are moderately affected like Telangana is there, some parts of Madhya Pradesh is there, some parts of Chhattisgarh also, Odisha, West Bengal, Bihar, and there are also places which are marginally impacted such as certain regions of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra as well, and as you can see in the eastern part of India. A stronger push has been done by security forces in Maoist strongholds. These are the reasons. Because of the connections of infrastructure such as roads and civil amenities, the interiors are now more accessible, which is the reason why the security forces could crack down on these strongholds of Maoists. There is also a general disenchantment with the Maoist ideology among the youth, which has made the Maoist movement deprived of young leadership. Alright, moving on. Now, Maoist violence in the country, it has gone down by 77% if we gauge it from 2010. The number of resultant deaths, that is security forces plus civilians, has come down by 90% from the all-time high of 1005 in 2010 to 98 in 2022. The government has cut the number of districts which are declared to be affected by Naxals from over 200 in the early 2000s to just 90 now. Moving on, the geographical spread of violence is actually restricted to 45 districts and it is minimum to 0 in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, Jharkhand and Bihar, which were one time the strongholds of Maoism. Now, the Buda Pahad, according to the government, which is a 55 square kilometer forested area between Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, it has been freed from insurgents. And this is this was a very notorious stronghold of Maoists. And there is also this policy of the government that we will get this country rid of Maoism by the year 2024, that is next year. Now, what is the situation in Chhattisgarh? We have to talk about that because the attack has been done in Dantewada. It is the only state in the country where Maoists continue to have a significant presence and retain the capability to mount big attacks. In the last 5 years, from 2018 to 2022, 1,132 violent incidents were perpetrated by left-wing extremists, in which 168 security forces personnel and 335 civilians lost their life. Chhattisgarh accounted for more than a third of the Maoist-related violence in this period. However, it had a share of 70% to 90% death. So the accuracy of these attacks are increasing, as in if we talk about Chhattisgarh. The violence graph in the state for this period has been up and down, and Maoists mounted 275 attacks in 2018. The number has fell to 182 in 2019, but again it rose to 241 in 2020. It then declined to 188 in 2021, but rose to 246 in 2022. Now, until the end of February, Maoists had killed 17 people in the state this year, including 7 security personnel in 37 attacks. Now, the number of deaths of security forces personnel too have risen and fallen in this period. 55 personnel were killed in 2018, 22 in 2019, 36 in 2020, 45 in 2021, and just 10 in 2022. Now, over the same period, security forces have killed 328 Maoist cadres in more than 400 planned operations. Numbers are not very important, but we have to keep in mind that we know the pattern and what is the graph that is going on in the country. It is a widely accepted principle in counter-Maoist strategy that the war against left-wing extremism can only be won by the state police and not central forces. The reason is very simple. These state police forces are locals generally, and they are very well versed with the places. Also, it is important for us to understand that they have intelligence with respect to where do Maoists reside, much more. They know the local language, so they can recruit the villagers as well in order to help them. So, through the active involvement of local police in the leading role, many states such as Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Odisha and Jharkhand were able to end the problem of Maoism. And this process started very late in Chhattisgarh. That is why Chhattisgarh is still infested with Naxalism. Both are, can be used equally. Maoism is actually Naxalism, Naxalism is Maoism. The special unit of Chhattisgarh police, the DRG, was raised from the local tribe police, just last year. It trained to fight Maoists only a few years ago and had become active comparatively recently. Now, supporting left-wing extremism state through security-related expenditure is one of the initiatives of the government, which focuses on equipping security forces to fight Maoists. Also, the Special Infrastructure Scheme aims to strengthen local police and intelligence setup. Other than that, Special Central Assistance for building infrastructure such as roads in NWE districts is also one of the initiatives. The center has maintained a massive presence of the CRPF in the affected regions for almost 2 decades now. In Chhattisgarh, the CRPF has been consistently enlarging its footprint by opening new camps which are deeper in the deeper jungles of South Bastar. Over the past 1 year alone, close to 20 forward operating bases have been set up in Bastar. The CRPF 2 years ago raised the Bastaria Battalion that the recruits for which were taken from the local population. It has now 400 recruits, which is very important for the operations in Chhattisgarh. And also, if we have to talk about other important things that Center is doing, Center is pushing for the erection of mobile towers in the interior so that communication can increase. Also, to generate technical intelligence. Since 2014, as many as more than 2,000 mobile towers have been erected in the LWE zones. The center has also unleashed the Counter-Terrorism National Investigation Agency and the Enforcement Directorate on CPI, cadres, leaders and sympathizers. There have been a register of multiple cases, conducted hundreds of raids and confiscated properties worth several hundred crores of rupees by far. So I hope you understood this topic well. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.